It's funny how memories of our youth kind of shape how we perceive things with food in the future. I don't know about you, but if you lived in the United States, or maybe more importantly in Minnesota, when you heard the word goulash, even Hungarian goulash, you would think of kind of a macaroni hot dish. Well, I got to tell you, goulash is not a macaroni hot dish, but it is great. And today we are going to make some Hungarian goulash on Cook Like a Bastard. So to make Hungarian goulash, and goulash is effectively a soup that we're making here. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the ingredients we're using. We're going to start with some beef cubed up, about 1 inch by 1 inch. Some carrots, potatoes, tomato, onion, parsnips. We have some pepper. I'm using hot red paprika, I'd say pepper, and some bay leaves, some garlic, some salt, pepper, some celery root, some Csipetke. These are little dumplings we're going to show you how to make, and some caraway seed. We're going to make this all together. It's going to take about an hour and a half, 2 hours to make, and it's very, very tasty. So I'm going to start by heating up some oil in my pan, and then we're going to saute 2 cups or so of onions in there. It's going to be really tasty. I can smell it already. Alright, so our oil is heated up here. I was using avocado oil today. It stands a little more heat, and it's a little more friendly in the kitchen, at least when you're cooking with cameras and everything. So I take a couple cups of onions. You see the oil is pretty hot. And put them in here. And now we're going to be sauteing these guys until they become translucent, and then we're going to be putting some of the hot paprika in it. Then after about 5 minutes or so, the onions are about done. So you can see that they're getting a little bit clear here and starting to brown just a smidgen. I'm going to add the paprika. This is hot paprika. You want to coat the onions with this. Then once we get this in and feel like the onions are coated properly, we're just going to add just a little bit of water. Not much, just a touch. You're making more of a sauce right now than a soup. Put just a little bit more in there. I'm going to make sure that you get all this mixed up. Turn your heat down just a little bit if it seems too hot. This is my center burner. It's the hot one, so be careful on it. Just a smidgen more water. See how this is working up? We can see this here, that it's really just kind of a sauce, like a very thick spaghetti sauce maybe. And then once you got that done, I'm going to add 4 bay leaves. I'm going to add some pepper. I'm going to add some salt. I like to use pink salt. Pink salt is the official salt of Cook Like a Bastard and Cook Like a Bastard Studios. And some caraway seeds, maybe a teaspoon or so to taste. So let's mix all these guys together here. And once you got your sauce all ready, I'm going to put in the beef. Now, this was a chuck that I cut up, but whatever meat you want. You want kind of a well-muscled meat, because that's going to turn in the gelatin that you create is going to turn into a nice thicker broth for you when you get your goulash done. I'm going to just add another touch of water, just to make sure the meat is all coated. Then we're going to let this sit for about an hour as it cooks down. You'll know the meat's going to become very tender. Then we're going to add the vegetables, and we're going to have a great cooking goulash here on Cook Like a Bastard. While you're letting the meat cook for about a half hour, it's a good time to chop up your vegetables. We're going to use a couple carrots here. Let's break them into 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch slices. And I have a fairly big carrot here, so to speak, so I'm going to just cut some of these in half again. Because remember, it's good when you're making things that people are going to eat and not cut, to make them at least bite-sized. Good tip, huh? So let's take a couple parsnips here. I'm actually going to use 3 parsnips because these are kind of small. Cut off the ends. And think about making them about the same size as your carrots. We take 2 potatoes. I've already peeled these. These aren't those magical peelless potatoes. And the potatoes, again, all these things should be about the same size. Different shapes, but generally the same size because it makes a much better goulash. We're making Hungarian goulash here on Cook Like a Bastard today. Not the type your mom made. Well, maybe if you're from Hungary, probably a good chance of that. I was talking to my mom yesterday, telling her about the show we were cooking, and so yeah, I was making goulash, and yep, she told me the recipe that I expected she might. Creamettes and hamburger and tomatoes and stuff, and I could see how the essence of that might actually be there. But this is real Hungarian goulash that we learned to make when we took a couple cooking classes when we were in Budapest recently. Take 3 cloves of garlic lungs we're at that. We need to smash these cats. Let's see how that works for us. Well, that seemed to work pretty okay, unless you're over that side and get hit by it. That one worked too. And see, our smashing was a little ambitious. I'm going to actually add 1 more clove because I calculated about 3/4 of the garlic went on the floor. So I got this big thing here. What the heck is this? Well, this is a celery root and used more for flavor. So we're going to clean this thing off here. Cut off the end. And really cut off both ends here. And then I'm going to quarter it because I'm going to put a big chunk in it. Then I'm going to peel it after I quarter it. So cut the ends. So again, this is just to add flavor. You're probably not going to be eating this, but you're going to be tasting it. And this is celery root. You want to leave it in a big enough chunk because you're going to be removing it before you serve it. And take, 1 or 2 tomatoes. And then cut these into small sections. And really a good tip is take the labels off before you cook them. You can clean them and they still stick. That's a good label. Quality labels here, nothing but the best at the Cook Like a Bastard Studios. We say, we want tomatoes. You can't make tomatoes good anymore, of course, but you can put damn good labels on them. Keep those labels, because this is the best boy we have right here. It's traveling, learning a few things in Europe. It was amazing just actually tasting good tomatoes again. So do what you can. Find some good tomatoes. Grow them at home. Do what you can, but tomatoes should be good. We like good tomatoes. So these guys are going to be sitting here, and what we're going to do is we're going to put them in after about a ½ hour of cooking the meat. So our meat has been cooking for about a ½ hour, and we're going to put our vegetables in here. This were potatoes and parsnips and carrots and smashed garlic and remember the celery root. Once we get this all in, let's mix it up. Now this is going to sit for another ½ hour here while these guys cook. Pretty easy, pretty goulashy, as I like to say. And then after about another ½ hour, add about double the amount of water we had in before. So we're going to let this go for another 15-20 minutes. Then we're going to put the Csipetke in, and we're going to have some goulash. Whoa! And it's good smelling goulash. Too bad you don't have smell-o-vision. Just saying. And the final step, well, not really the final step because we get to eat it afterwards, but it's adding the Csipetke. And this should sit in here for about 15 minutes or so. That's some good smelling goulash. Hungarian goulash. Let's see what we've done with all of this. Now this has been a great little soup we've been making here. This is authentic Hungarian goulash. Learned how to make this at the Chef Parade School in Budapest. And it has tomatoes and potatoes and carrots and parsnips and beef and little tiny dumplings that we made. Don't forget the celery root. Don't eat it though, just for flavor. This is good. The dumplings are tender. The beef is tender. The broth is delicate yet flavorful. What a great meal. Just like most of them here on Cook Like a Bastard.